Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Farooz Mehdi, and I'm the specialist for collaboration architecture within Cisco. Right, and thank you to TRA, Telecommunications Regulatory Authority, and I want to thank them for giving us this platform today. So we could go ahead and present to you what collaboration means in the age of agile organizations today, and how TRA is supporting Cisco and partnering with Cisco and delivering this in UAE here. And that's what we will be discussing over the next 45 minutes. So just to set the expectations right, I will talk and present about the solution for the next 45 minutes. And I'm sure you all are eager to ask your questions. So we'll leave 15 minutes for question and answer towards the end. So having said that, I'd once again like to thank TRA, Telecommunications Regulatory Authority, for giving us this platform and get started here. Thank you. So quickly, just for us to make a sense of what has been happening over the last 3 months or so, right, ever since the pandemic started here. Now, we have been speaking to multiple analysts here, and we have figured out that, as per Gartner, 74% of the companies plan to work remotely, right? They're going to shift work remotely. That's 74% of the companies. And how we came at this conclusion is, we interviewed 317 senior finance leaders since March, right? And we're seeing that, there's a huge shift when it comes to working remotely. And when it comes to working remotely, then, you'd also need tools that will help you to communicate and collaborate, and how this can be delivered from a cloud platform. That's what we're going to take a look at right now. So let's look at, now we are living in the era of digital economy. All right. So, everything is going digital here. And what's more important, right? What are the most important business imperatives here? The first and the most foremost thing here is improving customer experience. Every organization needs to focus on customer experience here. You could have the best of product. You could have the most sophisticated of product. All right. But if the customer experience is poor, right, it will do injustice, and customers will shy away, and they might go to your competitors who are delivering a better experience. You need to have greater operational efficiency. You need to be agile. You need to focus on growing revenues. Not just growing revenues, but we also need to focus on growing market share. And organizations need to focus on improving product and service innovation. So these are the top 5 important business aspects that organizations need to focus on right here. And now to focus on this, right, they need to basically look at 3 pillars basically here. So if you look towards the right here, we always need to have engagement with customers. Organizations needs to be customer focused because customer runs the business, right? But along with customer focus, they also need to have employee engagement. Remember, it's your employees, it's your teams that deliver a good experience to the customers. So digital organizations are successful organizations. Along with good customer engagement, they need to have a good employee engagement. And then most importantly, they need to have a good ecosystem engagement, because today organizations are not working in isolation. If they're delivering something to the customers, they're partnering with other organizations around them, value-based organizations, and they are delivering a whole solution to the end users here. All right. So we need to keep a focus on customer engagement, employee engagement, and ecosystem engagement. All right. We constantly need to stay in touch, communicate, and collaborate with these 3 spheres, and that will, give a better experience, right? So these are the demands of digital economy here. Now, to do this, let's quickly take a look at, how we have been working here, right? So if you had asked someone like 5 years ago, how we would be working in 2020, or if you had asked the analysts, right, they would say that we would move from working as individuals to working as teams, and there would be a 500% increase. We would move away from working at a corporate desk to working from anywhere. All right, and they would say that 90% of the organizations would offer mobility to the workers, right? Now, if we come back to 2020 and look at it today, right, this picture has really come true. The world was always moving towards remote work, right? It's not like remote work was born because of this pandemic. All right. So for the last decade or so, large organizations have always been, exploring the option of remote work. All right, so remote work may not necessarily mean only work from home, but work from anywhere. And a lot of organizations had begun their journey towards, working from anywhere, creating agile teams, and working with ecosystem partners. In the last 3 months, that process has been accelerated, right? And people have to work at home. And that is why we see, a massive increase from individuals that are working, solo to working in teams, from working at desk to working from anywhere. And to deliver a better solution, instead of working internally, we also need to partner with the ecosystem, right, with organizations outside our company. So we can go ahead and increase innovation and deliver a better product. So all of this would call for, a good collaboration here. Now, again, when we talk about collaboration here, so basically there are two entities that every organization or every employee would communicate with. So we communicate, mainly with our internal teams, but also it's important that, we have tools to communicate with external users. Today, if any one of us look at the way we work, right, we don't necessarily communicate just with our team members. We communicate with people outside our teams to get our job done. And we also communicate largely with people outside the organization, to get the job done and to deliver a better service. So we need to have the right tools, for internal communication, external communication, and all forms of communication. When I say all forms of communication, chatting is one form of communication. Calling, a one-to-one voice call is one form of communication. One-to-one video calling is a form of communication. Group video calling is a form of communication. So there are multiple communication, forms of communication, and we tend to use any one of these. And we need to have a single simplified, a solution to deliver all of this here. Now, there is no surprise in this. We are working in the age of teams. The era of, being an individual contributor or working in isolation is gone. So if you're a large organization or if you're a startup, it doesn't really matter the size of your organization. Right? It's not just about large organization. You could also be a startup, and we have to work in teams now. It's no longer the age of one-man brilliance. Now, I know this slide would break the heart of a lot of people here, but that's the ultimate truth. All right. So gone are the days of one-man brilliance. A champion team will always defeat a team of champions. All right. And that is where organizations are looking to work as teams. And they need to have the right tools, to be able to collaborate, to be able to leverage each other's strength, etc. here. All right. So the focus is on working in teams. Here. Now, what is Cisco's collaboration strategy? When it comes to delivering the team's experience itself, right? So first, we build bridges, not islands. So when you have a solution, that solution should be able to interoperate and work with even third-party applications and not just with your own application. So for example, you could have a communication tool from A company. Now, if you want to talk to a person from outside the organization that has a tool from B company, these applications should be able to interoperate. They should not work in isolation, all right? Because you'll be working with many users outside the organization, and each user will have their own form of application. So Cisco focuses big time on interoperability, all right? So inside a portfolio and outside a portfolio as well. It's cloud first, not cloud only. So cloud is the buzzword. It's been the buzzword for the last couple of years, but again, in the pandemic, there's a lot of cloud demand and consumption. So yes, we focus our innovation on delivering a solution from cloud, but that doesn't mean that we are abandoning our commitment to on-premise infrastructure. On-premise is still here to stay, and customers will use it, and Cisco will continue to focus and develop that solution here. So we will support our on-premise solutions, but we'll ensure that we are helping our customers to transition to cloud. And most importantly, we need to win the hearts and minds. So what I mean by that is, normally when we are working with any organization, right? So when you are proposing a solution, there are two entities that we need to look at. One entity is the IT that technically evaluates the solution. The other entity is the end user. So we need to win the admin, but we also need to win the end user. We need to win the hearts and minds. And to do that, we need to simplify the solution. Like I said, we can create the most sophisticated of solution, all right? But if it doesn't work, if the end user, now the end user could be a tech-savvy person, but they may also be non-tech-savvy. So we need to keep in mind that the end user is not a tech-savvy person and design a technology, to suit their needs. Okay. So once we win that end user, right, adoption will increase. Otherwise, you can go ahead and deploy the best of solutions, the most sophisticated of solutions, and you can go back to the organization 1 year later, and if it is complicated, you'll see the adoption fails. People are not using it. On the other hand, if you simplify it, users will embrace it, and you'll see that the application is being widespread, throughout the organization when you go ahead and visit your customer next. The most important thing now is, everyone's rushing to work from home. Everyone's rushing to get these applications and solutions. In this rush, we should not overlook security, because this is the most, this is the sweet spot for hackers and people that are trying to, execute cyber attacks, right? Because everyone is trying to digitize their meetings. Everyone wants to go online. So we need to ensure that the platform is end-to-end secure. And this is where Cisco again delivers with end-to-end encryption, all right, and with high levels of encryption, whether your solution is on-premise or on cloud. And once we deliver simplicity and security, we again need to focus on sophistication. So we need to have cognitive collaboration. What I mean by that is, we need to go ahead and develop the solution in such a way that it can integrate with the user's other applications and give them more value, so they can get an additional benefit. So this is a collaboration strategy here, and this is based on our constant discussion with customers, and we've spoken to many C-level customers and understood what they would like Cisco's strategy to be. So again, this strategy is not developed in isolation. This is done after thorough consultations with our customers worldwide. Now, how does Cisco deliver collaboration today? So when I talk about collaboration, we could be talking about IP telephony, we could be talking about video conferencing, web conferencing, messaging, and contact center. So traditionally, how Cisco used to deliver this was on-premise. Customers would take a server, they would take the phone endpoints, they would take the video endpoints, and then they would invest in a server, and they would connect all this to the server, all right, and they would operate. And this is how customers were operating. In the last decade, right, so it's in the last 10 years, customers, came back to us and said that they would like to use the solutions, but they want to reduce the total cost of ownership. And that is where Cisco developed cloud, and thanks to service providers, right, so we work with the service providers to develop, hosted solutions where the infrastructure could be hosted with the service providers, and the end users just plug in the endpoints and they get started with it. All right, so we have developed a cloud-based solution as well. So today you can have conferencing from cloud, you can have contact center from cloud, you can have IP telephony from Cisco Cloud. All right, so all of this is possible from the cloud. And locally, we are working with service providers in each region to deliver this. Also, we need to take a key look at, how the world is shifting, from on-premise to hosted. Again, we continue to speak with analysts, right? Because we need to work with analysts and we need to speak with customers. By 2021, 90% of the IT leaders will not invest in new infrastructure for on-premise, right? So at least for UC, what they would instead do is they would move the UC to cloud. 74% of the organizations will choose a cloud calling vendor in the next 24 months. So that is actually 3 out of every 4 customers. So if I go ahead and meet every 3 out of 4 customers, they'll say, yes, I want telephony, but I don't want to invest in the hardware. I want it to be hosted. All right. In 2018, we had 75 million users. All right. By 2022, we'll have 141 million users of IP telephony on cloud. The cloud share, if you'd seen, 2 years ago in 2018, was 16%. By 2022, that will be 31%. So 31% of IP telephony users would be on cloud. The revenues itself, right, would shoot from 13 billion to 22 billion, all in a span of 4 years, from 2018 to 2022. So we can see that, it's not just organizations that are making a push to cloud, but also the end users are adopting cloud here. And all these reports are, delivered by Gartner, right? So it's not numbers that, Cisco, made an assessment based on our bookings. These are the numbers that are given by leading analyst firms like Gartner, etc. Now, all is good. We can talk about moving to cloud. What are the challenges when you talk about moving to cloud? So when we go and speak with IT, right, one of the concerns they would ask is, they would raise security concerns, they would raise cost resources, they would, question how will, someone managing the solution, or how will a hosted partner ensure user satisfaction? How do I protect the existing investment that we have done? These are the concerns of IT. When it comes to the end users, their concerns are, we work in agile teams. Our IT knows about how we work. Will the hosted partner know about how we work? Can they deliver? We will need to work from anywhere. So will the hosted partner know about our work style, our priorities, right? So these are the questions that the end users will have. And of course, every end user needs ease of use. Like I mentioned, this technology sits with end users who may not necessarily be tech savvy. Therefore, it's important that, the solutions need to be simplified. Of course, we can make it sophisticated at the back end, but at the user end, it has to be simplified. Now, what are the drivers that are moving users to cloud? IT resource efficiencies. The IT teams in mid-sized organizations are short-staffed, all right, so they need this solution to be managed by an hosted provider here. They want to reduce maintenance. They want to have faster access to emerging technology. What I mean by that is, if you deploy anything on-premise, right, so each time you want to introduce a new solution, you would have to install the software, you'll need to do the testing, coding, etc., and then roll it out to the end users. Mid-sized IT organizations do not have a vast IT team to take on this load. Now, your service provider or the hosted collaboration provider can take care of these things. They can do the testing and they can roll it out, for team collaboration, for meetings, and for video conferencing. So in this way, users get faster access to emerging technology as well. Let's see what are the challenges. So when we shift UC to the cloud, right, so it could be disruptive. These are the apprehensions users will have. It has longer transitions. They think that, the transition time to cloud from on-premise could be longer, and users may need to run parallel system on-premise and cloud at the same time. They fear the loss of productivity during the transition. These are the common, apprehensions that, customers have. And let's see how Cisco is, addressing this. So yeah, they want no disruption. They're worried that security would be an issue. Customization could be an issue. And what about the existing investment? They've already made an investment. Now going to cloud means, it doesn't do justice with the investment that they've already made. So let's take a look at how Cisco invests in all these things, or how Cisco addresses these requirements here. First of all, we need to ensure that no disruptions. We need to give a familiar administration, familiar user experience when it comes to CUCM. We can give the same features. So Cisco closely works with service providers, and once they become our hosted collaboration partners, we do our testing to ensure that there is no feature disparity between what you're using from an on-premise perspective versus what you would be consuming from a hosted collaboration provider. Okay, the features need to be same. It should support the same devices. For example, you could be using a specific model, or an end user could be using a specific model of Cisco phone or of Cisco video endpoint. When you move to cloud, those features, the customer or the user should be able to use that same device, and that device should be supported, all right, and the upgrades should be managed. Security, right? So, we need to ensure that, the security is just as good as a private instance. There should be system survivability. In case the connection to the hosted collaboration provider fails, the service should switch over to a backup. There is system redundancy. We should have services like emergency responder and CUCM security. And most importantly, right, we also live in the era of customizations. So you should have APIs to be able to integrate. So someone could be having an IP phone. When it is registered to the on-premise call manager, you could have your own settings, you could have your own background image. When you move to the cloud, all that should stay. Now, also coming into the existing ROI, right, extended ROI. Now, as an on-premise organization, you would have invested in phones, you would have invested in voice gateways, customers would have invested in video systems, in integrations, etc. So what does it mean by when you go to hosted? Does it mean that you have to junk your existing investment and hardware? No. So we can bring in a hybrid approach where we can leverage your existing infrastructure, your existing endpoints like phones, gateways, video systems, integrations, and just plug it to cloud to ensure that we are extending your return on investment. Let's take a quick look at what is Cisco's HCS solution. So HCS stands for Hosted Collaboration Solution. All right, so this we deliver in partnership mainly with service providers across the region. And in UAE, we are delivering this in partnership with Do. So with Hosted Collaboration Solution, like we say, we are delivering the Unified Communication Manager. We deliver Unity Connection. Unity Connection basically helps you to have access to your voicemails. For messaging, we give Jabber, all right, which is a IM and presence solution. We also have a new application for messaging, Cisco WebEx Teams. Again, it's a choice we give to our users. They can continue to use Jabber and they can use WebEx Teams. We have Cisco WebEx Meetings, all right, which is a pioneer and one of the first, web video conferencing solution, all right. So we have that, and we also deliver contact center, through our hosted collaboration solution. So with the market-leading solution, these services is voice, video, mobility, instant messaging and presence, contact center, and conferencing. Because like I mentioned, right, users will have different requirements. There are different forms of communication. That some users will prefer to just have a voice communication. Some users prefer to have a video communication. All right, some users prefer to have mobility, which means they want to be working from anywhere and still have access to enterprise telephony. Some users will not need to have just instant messaging. Every organization has contact center to support their internal employees and also the customers. All right, so you need to have the contact center. I mean, if you want to have contact center that is hosted, our service providers can assist you with that as well. And also conferencing, right? It needs to be hosted. So you can pick and choose any way you want to communicate, and all of these options are delivered through our Cisco hosted collaboration solution. How do these things work, right? At the core of all this is something called as call control, which is powered by Cisco Unified Communications Manager. So whether you're deploying a solution on-premise or with a service provider, your IP telephony, the video conferencing, the contact center, all of this is registered to this server. And this is the server, that goes ahead and powers and delivers these outcomes, these technologies like IM presence, voice, video. And Cisco has a market-leading platform, right? So it's again powered by our UCS servers. You can have a cloud-hosted PBX. You can integrate this. And we have solutions which will deliver voice, video, and messaging in a single server, all right? So again, now let's take a look at, the video conferencing itself, right? Cisco has the broadest endpoint portfolio here. So like we have today, if you look at it, the way users will communicate, right? Users could be in any room. They could be working from desk. They could be working from anywhere. So when we talk about Pocket, we're talking about the applications that reside on your phone. Now, as the situation is coming back to normal, right, as people start coming back to the offices, we can be sure that, we're not going to see a full house in any office, all right? So we're going to start with getting 20% of the employees back to the office. Then we may go to 50%. And I don't think organizations will still bring 100% of the employees to the office still. So in this kind of a scenario, we may have rostered working, where organizations will say that I will have 50% of the employees come and work on the first 3 days of the week, and the other 50% on the next 3 days or next 2 days, right? And in this kind of a scenario, the hybrid working experience of working in office and having people work from home will come more alive. And that is when you need this solution here, the option to work from any room, any device, any pocket. When it comes to working from any room, Cisco has room-based video endpoints. All right, so we have the WebEx board. It comes in 3 dimensions, 55 inches, 70 inches, and 85 inches. All right. So this is basically, an all-in-one device where you can do wireless screen sharing, where you can have video conferencing, and you can have whiteboarding. All right. So normally when any user goes to a meeting room, you would see three different technologies, right? So you would see the good old whiteboard, you would see a projector, you would see a phone on the table. We have collapsed all of that into the WebEx board. Then we also have the Room 55 for high-end video conferencing here. So if more and more organizations are going to invest in, video conferencing here, just to ensure that, they avoid travel and, they work remotely. And for companies, you will also see a lot of companies that have already invested in room-based technologies. Like today, if you go to any meeting room, 9 out of 10 meeting rooms will already have a screen for presentation, right? So we don't necessarily have to remove those screens and put Cisco video endpoints. In that kind of a scenario, we can go ahead and mount Cisco Room Kit on top of those screens. And we can convert the customer's existing investment in those screens into a video conferencing device or a video conferencing functionality. So we have the devices to power every kind of a space. So 8 out of 10 users are frustrated with the current meeting space. So a lot of people today, when you have meetings and when users go into a meeting room, right, the first thing they do is they call the IT because they want the IT to show them, again, we're talking about the non-tech savvy users. They call the IT, they ask them, how can we connect to the projector? I need to make a video call. I need to make an audio call. They just can't find enough space. All right, so you spend a lot of time in getting your work started. Your progress is delayed. The meetings start late, etc. And this is the traditional AV room. All right, so if you go to any meeting room today, you would see a whiteboard. All right, so you would see a note taker. You would see a screen for presentation. You would normally see a phone on the table. And a lot of organizations, who used to believe that video conferencing is luxury, used to have this, but now it's no longer a luxury item. It's more of an essential item. It was a fragmented experience in a room. What Cisco is delivering is we are collapsing all of these things, right? If you look at the sticky notes, the video conference, the projector, the whiteboard, and the phone into one single application. So these are the different devices that we have in each room today. We have speakers, screen. So I think if I count, I'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 12 different technology elements that power any meeting room for a modern meeting room, right? And it's really a clumsy experience for users to put all of these together and get started, and also difficult to manage for the IT. What Cisco is doing, we are powering modern meeting rooms. Now, you see this meeting room here. You only see the video conferencing device, and you have the table, right? So you can have the whiteboard. We have the touchscreen devices. The device will take care of the whiteboard. You can do wireless screen sharing. All right, you can also use this for making voice calls. You can have video calls. So everything that you do in the previous screen here, now all of those features, you don't need different elements. We have collapsed all of it into one single technology. And this is what the meeting room of the future would look like. In fact, this is the meeting room of present, I would say. So it could be any dimension here, and this is our meeting room. So you can see clearly there is nothing on the table. There is no clutter. There is no phone, there are no hanging dongles, etc. All of that is collapsed into one single sophisticated solution here. All right, so that's what we have here. Now let's look at the join experience of the user. Again, excuse me if I keep talking about a non-tech savvy person, because when we deliver collaboration, right, we always need to keep in mind the end user who's not tech savvy. Of course, it's good for those of us, who know how to use technology here, all right? But solutions like collaboration should always be developed keeping the non-technical user in mind, all right? Because they also form a large chunk of a workforce here. So the option to join a meeting, right? So when someone is invited to a meeting, they shouldn't have to, go through multiple steps to join a meeting. They should just see one button which says join, which is self-explanatory. They click on that button and they go into the session and they join the session. That's about it. There should be no other step, all right? And that is when collaboration would be embraced. And this is what Cisco focuses on, and this is what Cisco delivers. Today we have one button to push. So when you have a scheduled meeting, when users go into the meeting, on the panel, users will see the green join button. They just tap that button and they get into the meeting. Of course, it's also the age of voice applications. So a lot of us are already used to, voice commands, be it Siri on our iPhones or, be it on our Android devices or Amazon's Alexa, etc. Right? So voice commands are already a consumer thing today. Now, a lot of your workforce that's coming in will be used to, voice commands. So we need to ensure that we bring the voice command feature into enterprise applications and into enterprise technologies, right? And it makes a lot of sense. So tomorrow, if I go into a meeting room, I would be wary of touching any device, given the infections, etc. If I have a choice between touching a device and operating a device just by my voice command, I will prefer, operating the device with my voice command, right, to ensure minimal touch. And Cisco delivers voice commands with video devices, where you can go ahead and start your meeting with voice command. You can join your meeting on the video devices from the voice command. You can record the meeting. You can increase the volume and decrease the volume by, a voice command. So as much as possible, we can have a touchless experience. All right, and Cisco already delivers this with a cloud-connected video devices. And that is the beauty of cloud-connected video devices, because cloud-connected devices are connected to the cloud platform. So we don't have to go ahead and enable these features for each user. We just, power the platform, and the users get the benefit of that platform. So we have, facial recognition with the voice devices as well. So when you have people joining a meeting room, right, a lot of us could be, meeting others for the first time. Though we still go through rounds of introduction and people say their names, yet, some people tend to forget, right? And then when you want to address someone, you do not know what the names are. So it could be a bit awkward or embarrassing to talk to people or to address people without knowing what the name is. So with facial recognition now, of course, this is given by users' consent. Users need to go into a site called people.webex.com and give that consent that they would like to be recognized. All right, and then when they join the meeting, right, the name labels are visible below the name, so people know what the name is. All right, so they can address them more effectively, and that also helps in rapport building. When we join meetings, the meeting should always have a video-first experience. So previously, if you look at video, web conferencing and video conferencing, the solutions have evolved. It's always a journey in progress. When it first came on, people would be looking at a blank screen and they would have to click on another button to see the video. But now you don't need it, because you need to have a real life experience. When you go into a meeting room in a traditional world, you see the person live. So when you go into the virtual world, you should be able to see the video first, and we have the video first experience along with the controls, which tell the user which is the mute button, which is the button to switch off the video, which is the button to share screen, record, etc. So these are self-explanatory here. You can change the layout. All right, so in a meeting, you can have people that are sending the video, but also some people prefer not to send video. All right, so you can have a mix and match of both. All right, and you can change the layout. You can have a 5x5 layout where you can see 25 people at the same time. Or you can have a 2x3 layout, like in this case, where you can see 6 people at the same time. So this is how a 5x5 layout looks like. And it's really important, right? Because, when you work from remotely, right, whether you're working conventionally, all right, when you're traveling to meet people, or if you are going to the office, or you're working remotely, the purpose of meeting anyone is to further improve our relationship and build rapport. And to build rapport, we need to be able to catch their facial expressions, and we need to smile at them. So building rapport is always there, whether you meet in person or meet virtually. And video plays a big role here. All right. So therefore, we need to turn on video, and we need to be able to see as many people as possible. So what are the other things that we can deliver, from a cloud collaboration perspective, right? Your investment will need to ensure that when users invest in cloud-connected video devices, we need to have, extended revenue, or we need to have extended value. So now we can also run digital signage on Cisco video devices. We can run enterprise TV. We can deliver alerts, right? I mean, I could just think of a few alerts here. So if we have a sanitization drive, or if the organization has detected someone that is COVID positive, We could just ask people to stay where they are, not touch anything. I mean, you can give any kind of alert that you want. It can be active on idle as well. All right. So when you're not having a meeting, right, we can just run digital signage content. So, the use cases are, multiple, right? You can just imagine what kind of content you want to run. So you can be using these devices for video conferencing, and when they're not in use, these devices can also deliver digital signage. So thereby they extend more value to the users here. When it comes to desk, we have phones for the users, right? So we have the phone endpoints, the 78 series, which is the starter series. We have 8832, that is the model that you'd use for the conference rooms. We have the 88 series phones, which come with English keyboard and Arabic keypad as well, in charcoal gray and in white color. All right. The 88 series phones are again designed for the senior executives, where they would need to have more shortcut keys, where they would need to have video conferencing on the phone. And we also have desktop-based video conferencing devices like the Desk Pro and the DX80 here, right? And all the devices are the winners of Red Dot Design Award. So the Red Dot Design Award is essentially given to make technology look good. It's like the fashion awards for technology. And year after year, Cisco endpoints are the winner of a Red Dot Design Award. So we also have, like I said, so people could be in rooms, so you need video endpoints. They could be working from desks, so you need phone endpoints. But what if they're just working from the tablets, PCs, and smartphones, which we call as every pocket, right? They need to have an application. And today, TRA, right, in conjunction with Do, so the application that they're using is Jabber. Jabber at a core is an IM and present solution, which you have at your desk, where you can see the present status of your other employees or other teammates. You can send an instant message. But also when we integrate Jabber with your call manager, you have control. So, you can go ahead and access your voicemails from Jabber. You can make outgoing calls. So if you are working from home and if you need to make an outgoing call, you don't necessarily have to use your personal mobile subscription. You can access your enterprise telephony system through Jabber and make outgoing calls. If someone calls your work desk phone, the Jabber application will ring. If someone leaves the voicemail, you don't have to go to your desk phone to access the voicemail. You can access the voicemail through the Jabber application. So, you can just go ahead and access enterprise telephony from anywhere as long as you have the Jabber application here. And most importantly, we also have a secure VPN-less access. So you don't necessarily need to log into VPN. So we have something called as a mobile remote access, where Jabber will connect with your enterprise telephony on hosted cloud or on-premise and give you, a secure access to your enterprise telephony. Now, all this is good, right? So, we spoke about, the different room endpoints. We spoke about the desktop endpoints. We spoke about the applications. And we spoke about, why we need, these kind of solutions for Agile organizations, why we need collaboration applications for Agile organizations. But why do you need from Cisco? There are different vendors out there. You can buy it from anywhere. Why from Cisco? Let's just take a quick look at it here. Cisco has delivered this solution to 95% of Fortune 500 organizations. That is 95%, right? That's a huge number. They use Cisco collaboration. We have deployed 87 million Cisco endpoints on cloud. We have 300,000 collaboration customers here. We've got 3.5 million contact center agents. Contact center is the backbone of every organization's customer service. And Cisco has deployed 3.5 million contact center agents worldwide. So we know what is important for our customers and what is important to their customers. We have 77 billion WebEx meeting minutes per year. That's the highest on any platform. We have deployed 35 million Jabber seats across the globe. So when it comes to the size of the organization, the scale of deployment, no one has more exposure and experience, and no one understands the pulse of users and customers better than Cisco when it comes to delivering collaboration, whether it is hosted or on-premise. And that is why I would encourage customers to take a look at Cisco. So we have partnered, right, with global UC service providers. All right, so we partnered with service providers in 69 countries. We have about 186 partners. We've got more than 6,500 customers, right, from these countries here. We've got 6.4 million subscriptions. And most importantly, in organizations which have more than 500 users, Cisco has 75% of the market share. And we are number one in cloud UC and contact center as rated by Gartner. So Cisco HCS is an upward market trajectory. So if you just look at what the analysts are saying, like Wainhouse, where is cloud calling going, or multi-tenancy going, right? So if you look at 2018, 83% of the users were consuming IP telephony or calling from on-premise, which means they had the services on-premise, they had the servers on-premise, right? And only 6% were having multi-instance, and 11% were having multi-tenant. Now, for those of you who are confused or who may ask me, what is the difference between multi-instance and multi-tenant? In multi-tenant, right, the service provider has a common infrastructure or a server for all the users. So they go ahead and update the server, they put the patch update, and all the tenants get the update, right? They get the features. In multi-instance, the service provider hosts a dedicated instance for each customer. So if that customer needs some development, if they need new features, you will have to install the feature for that instance of that customer here. So multi-instance was at 6% of the market, right? And multi-tenant was 11%. Now let's just look forward. We are in 2020 now. Now going to 2023, we see 27% of the users that they will be going to 27% of multi-tenant cloud users, right? And then we'll see about 13% of the users using multi-instance cloud. And on-premise, if you look at it, right, they will reduce from 83% to 60%. So in 3 years' time, the consumption of hosted UC will be 60% on-premise, 13% will be multi-instance, and 27% would be multi-tenant. Yep. So these are the worldwide partners that we have had, all right? So, these are the partners that we have worldwide. And in Middle East, we have Do, which is a partner here, all right? So we work with Do to deliver hosted collaboration solution, and we partner with them. Yep. It takes a strong ecosystem, right? So yes, Cisco delivers this, but to be very frank and honest with you, it's not just Cisco. We need to partner with different vendors. For example, in UAE, we are partnering with Do, all right? So we need consulting partners that understand the market, or local partners that understand the end customer, what is important to the end customer. We need to have channel partners, all right? We work with service providers. We work with independent software vendors, right, to give you value-based solutions here. We work with system integrators to ensure that we have complex solutions, but to give a simplified end-user outcome, we need to stitch together the different solutions that we have. So we work with system integrators. We work with different technology partners to ensure that we deliver one single, unified, simple, and secure application to our customers and their end users here. So Cisco has a strong ecosystem to deliver this. Now, that's it for me from my side here. So, that's what we have from Hosted Collaboration Solution.